What do you do when life knocks you flat and doesn't wait for you to recover? The truth is, no warning is coming. Pain hits, people leave, failure shows up uninvited, and when it does, the world won't pause to help you breathe. That's when real strength is revealed. Not in noise, not in anger, but in stillness, in presence, in the choice to stand tall even when you feel like breaking. Many men are told to tough it out, to stay silent, to move on fast. But Stoic philosophy offers a different kind of strength, one built from within. It teaches us that purpose isn't found after the pain, it's found through it. Your scars? They're not proof of defeat. They're evidence you endured. They're marks of a man who didn't run, who rebuilt from the ashes. This video is for every man fighting silent battles. If you've ever felt like you had to carry your pain alone, know this. You're not weak, you're in training. And you're not alone. Together, we'll explore how to master your mind, rewrite your inner voice, and rise. Not in spite of the storm, but because of it. So if you're ready to stop surviving and start leading your own life, this is your moment. Like this video, subscribe for more powerful Stoic insights, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. The next chapter of your story begins right now. 1. Purpose is found through pain, not after it. You don't need a breakdown to realize you've lost your way, but sometimes it takes one to remember why you began. One quiet morning, a man sits alone in his truck outside the job site. Calloused hands gripping the wheel, eyes heavy from a night that offered no rest. His business partner betrayed him. His wife left last fall. His father stopped calling. And now silence is louder than ever. He doesn't cry. He doesn't yell. He just stares, wondering, what the hell am I doing all this for? Most people wait for the storm to pass so they can find their purpose and peace. They think it's out there, after the chaos, after the healing, after the pain. But Stoic philosophy turns that on its head. It tells us pain isn't the obstacle, it's the birthplace. You don't find purpose after suffering. You forge it within suffering. But that's not how we're taught. We're told to get over it, to move on, to bury it deep. We mask the wound and hope time does the rest. And maybe that works for a while, until the next blow comes. Then suddenly, you're back where you started. Confused, bitter, hollow. The Stoics teach that what breaks you can also build you if you stop asking why me and start asking what now. There's a quiet shift when a man accepts that his pain isn't punishment, it's pressure. And pressure doesn't destroy, it shapes. Pain exposes what's real. When the applause stops, when no one's watching, when your own reflection feels like a stranger, that's where purpose lives. It doesn't live in comfort. It doesn't thrive under approval. It waits in the fire, daring you to step in and stay. If you've ever driven in silence, windows cracked to let the weight escape, you know what it means to question everything. That's not weakness. That's clarity knocking. If you listen closely in those moments, there's a whisper in your chest, not loud, not urgent, but steady. It says there's more in you than this. That whisper is the purpose, and it doesn't shout, it waits. Stoicism doesn't tell you to ignore your wounds. It tells you to stand still long enough to feel them and to let them speak. Because if you don't let your pain speak, it will scream. Not out loud, but through burnout, rage, disconnection, self-doubt. So what do you do with pain? You stop fleeing it. You stop masking it with noise. You face it, sit with it, write through it, lift with it, walk with it. You let it teach you how to carry weight without breaking your back. And here's where you begin. Tonight before bed, don't scroll. Don't numb. Just sit. In silence. With your hands open, breathe. And ask yourself not what went wrong, but what am I still standing for? Do this every day for a week. Then notice your back gets straighter, your voice is steadier, your eyes are clearer. That's not recovery. That's the purpose unfolding, not after the fire, but right in the middle of it. 2. Your inner voice can either build or break you. You can lift weights every day and still be weak if the voice in your head is tearing you down. A man can bench 3 plates at the gym but still crumble under the pressure of his own thoughts. That's because strength isn't just physical, it's psychological. And the most dangerous weight you'll ever carry is your own self-talk. Most people don't realize how loud their inner voice is until it's already shaped their reality. It sounds like doubt, like shame, like every failure being played back on repeat. And over time, those thoughts don't just echo, they define. You're not good enough. You always mess it up. Why try again? These aren't facts. They're internal scripts. And the longer you run them, the deeper they carve into your belief system. But here's the twist. That voice, it's yours. You didn't choose what it first said, but you can choose what it keeps saying. Stoic philosophy reminds us you are not your thoughts. You are the one observing them. And that distance, that gap between hearing and believing, is where your power begins. Picture this. A man wakes up at 4:30 a.m., cold floor, empty house, bills on the counter. He looks in the mirror and instead of hearing, "Let's go," he hears, "What's the point?" That voice shapes the entire day. Not his paycheck, not his routine, not even the weight on his shoulders. Just that single thought, spoken quietly but believed completely. Most people try to silence the voice, but Stoicism teaches a different path. You don't silence it, you train it. You teach it to speak truth, not fear. Discipline, not doom. And you do it with practice, not inspiration. Start simple. When the voice says, "I'm tired," respond with, "But I've survived worse." When it whispers, "You're failing," say back, "I'm still moving." You don't need to scream affirmations into a mirror. You need to stop letting the weakest version of you do all the talking. Rewriting your inner dialogue doesn't happen overnight, but it begins the moment you catch that negative thought mid-sentence and decide not to finish it. You interrupt the loop. You edit the story, not by pretending everything's fine, but by choosing to speak to yourself like someone worth fighting for. That's the Stoic way. Not empty positivity, not delusion, just steady, deliberate rewiring. You become your own ally, your own reminder, your own proof. Tonight, write one sentence on a note and place it by your bed. Something true, not perfect, not poetic, just real. Something like, "I've been through worse and I'm still here," or "This day didn't win," and read it before you sleep. Let that voice be the last thing you hear, not the doubts, not the noise, just you, finally speaking life instead of rehearsing pain. Because once you control the voice, you control the direction. And once you shift the narrative, you stop breaking yourself from the inside out. 3. Rewrite the narrative you tell yourself. Sometimes the loudest prison isn't the world around you, it's the story inside your head. The one you've been repeating since that mistake you made at 26, since the divorce, since the business folded, since your father said those words you have never forgotten. Not every cage has bars, some have beliefs. A narrative is more than memory, it's momentum. And if the story you tell yourself is built on shame, failure, and fear, you'll keep living in circles, not forward. You'll keep shrinking yourself to fit a version of you that no longer exists. That's the danger of letting unexamined thoughts run your life. They become law without ever being questioned. Most men don't even know the script they're running. They think their fatigue is from stress, but much of it is from resistance. The mental weight of dragging yesterday into every tomorrow. You're not tired because you're weak. You're tired because you're repeating a role that no longer serves you. That's where Stoicism cuts through the fog. It doesn't tell you to fake positivity. It doesn't ask you to pretend. It says, examine your story, challenge it, rewrite it. Not with fantasy, but with clarity. And you don't need a therapist's couch or a breakthrough moment. You just need one decision: to stop letting pain from the past be the narrator of your present. Imagine this. A man walks into his garage every morning, surrounded by dust and boxes, tools from a job he left behind, photos of a family that's no longer whole, each object a timestamp of who it was. But he starts his day there, again and again, absorbing the same emotional script, until it feels like truth. He hasn't failed. He's just forgotten that the garage is not the story, it's just a room. Now what if instead of walking in and submitting to the memory, he paused and asked, who do I want to be today? That question breaks the loop. It bends the story. It allows space for reinvention. The Stoics believed we are not bound to the identity handed to us by circumstance. We are not victims of emotion or echo chambers of regret. We are authors, editors, architects of meaning. And meaning doesn't wait for a perfect day to arrive. It waits for a man who is willing to write differently, especially when the past tries to hijack the pen. So start here. Pick one thought you've repeated for years that holds you back. Maybe it's, I always screw things up, or nothing ever works out for me. Interrupt it, replace it, not with fluff, but with something firmer. I've failed, yes, but I've also stood back up. Put that sentence somewhere visible. Read it when you forget. Speak it when the old lines return. The story isn't over. The chapter you're in is not the conclusion. What you write from here doesn't erase what came before. It reclaims it. That's not just a mindset. That's mastery. Quiet, defiant, stoic. And it starts when you say, this isn't who I am. It's just what I've been through. 4. You are allowed to be both shattered and strong. Strength has been misdefined for far too long. We've been told it means being untouchable. Stoic, cold, as if real men aren't allowed to bleed, as if pain disqualifies you from leadership, love, or purpose. But that's a lie built to shame and silence. The truth is more raw and more powerful. Strength doesn't mean you're unbroken. It means you keep moving with your cracks showing. In a world that worships perfection, Stoicism turns the lens inward. It doesn't demand that you hide your wounds. It dares you to use them. What hurts you doesn't have to harden you. What broke you doesn't mean you're broken forever. You can be in pieces and still move forward. You can feel weak and still act with discipline. You can be exhausted, grieving, uncertain, and still stand. That is what makes a man unstoppable. Not his polish, not his status, but his quiet refusal to quit when every bone inside him says stop. The modern lie tells men to get it together, to mask pain with distractions, grind harder, tough it out. But toughness is not silence. It's not pretending. It's not numbness. Stoic strength is a different fire. It burns clean. It stays when motivation fades. It burns through shame and creates space for self-respect. You don't earn that kind of strength by avoiding suffering. You earn it by walking through it, eyes open, spirit steady, heart bruised but still beating. And no, you don't have to be the strongest man in the room. You don't have to have the right words. Sometimes you just need to be present, with your pain, with your process, without apologizing for the mess. That's not weakness. That's resistance against a culture that expects you to be robotic. The Stoics knew the mind is not a machine, it's a battlefield. And no warrior wins by denying the fight. He wins by facing it and choosing to stay in it, even when nothing makes sense. So stop waiting until you're better to be seen. Stop rehearsing the story that says you're not enough until you're whole. Wholeness is not the absence of pain, it's the integration of it. A man who walks into the fire and keeps walking, he doesn't come out the same. He comes out with depth, with gravity, with a power that doesn't perform. It simply is. From now on, let your presence speak louder than your perfection. Let your silence hold more meaning than surface-level strength. And when someone asks how you're doing, you don't have to say fine. You can say, I'm showing up. That is the revolution. That is what Stoic resilience looks like. Not in how well you hide the cracks, but in how bravely you walk with them exposed. Tonight, when the noise quiets down, sit with yourself and speak the truth, even if your voice shakes. Say, I can be in pain and still be powerful. I can be shattered and still show up. That sentence alone, spoken in your own voice, will begin to shift something deep inside you. And that shift, that's where real strength begins. 5. Don't wait for the storm to pass. Grow in it. Peace is not the prerequisite for progress. That's a modern myth dressed in comfort. The idea that we must wait until things calm down, until the pressure eases, until our lives feel manageable, that's how time gets wasted. That's how men grow old in the waiting room of their own lives. But storms don't ask for permission, and growth doesn't need perfect weather. In fact, it avoids it. Growth is forged in resistance. The pressure that bends you is the same force that strengthens you, if you face it. Most people flee from pressure. They numb it, postpone decisions, wait for the sun. But Stoic discipline speaks a different truth. You grow not when the world becomes easier, but when you become more grounded. You don't get stronger by waiting for the fire to die. You get stronger by standing in it, deliberate, unshaken, aware. That is the Stoic path. The path of action without excuse. The path of growth within discomfort. We've been sold the idea that healing comes after hardship, but sometimes healing happens in motion. While the rain falls, while the thunder roars, while the wind keeps pushing against everything you believe, and still you build. Still, you choose order over chaos. Still, you carry the weight with a steady hand and a forward gaze. The mistake most men make is waiting for the storm to pass so they can begin again. But storms, like life, are unpredictable. The man who only acts in peace is a man who will act rarely. The Stoics didn't fear storms, they understood them. Epictetus spoke of not controlling the events, but mastering the response. And in that response lies your inner architecture. That's where strength is designed. That's where unshakable confidence is carved. The fire that surrounds you isn't proof that life is cruel, it's the evidence that you're in transition. Pressure is preparation, not punishment. What feels chaotic today is shaping the mindset you'll need for what's coming tomorrow. But only if you stay in it, only if you stop flinching at adversity and start seeing it as instruction. That shift is quiet, but it changes everything. So what does it mean to grow in the storm? It means you no longer wait for external clarity to take internal action. You wake up and move, even if you're tired. You speak with intention, even if your voice shakes. You keep your word to yourself, even if the world forgets it. And each time you act like that, even once, you reclaim a piece of your power. Tonight, when the noise tries to pull you into anxiety, choose presence. When distraction offers the easy path, choose discipline. And when you feel the weight of pressure tightening its grip, pause, not to escape, but to plant your feet. That pause, that stillness in the middle of the chaos, that is growth. That is what it looks like to become unbreakable. Not after the storm ends, but while it still rages. 6. You need the right people, not just people. Loyalty to the wrong people can sabotage your entire growth. Not all company is companionship. Not every familiar face deserves a seat at your next chapter. The truth is, many men aren't stuck because of a lack of potential, but because they keep dragging dead weight through every breakthrough. You outgrow people before you outdistance them. But instead of choosing alignment, most choose history. And history becomes a trap. Real strength isn't just built in solitude, it's protected in proximity. Who surrounds you is just as important as who you're becoming. But we don't say that enough. We glorify isolation, grind alone, and suffer in silence. We tell men to push through, not to prune. And so, they stay loyal to voices that soften their edge, distract their focus, and normalize their doubt. The wrong people won't always look wrong. Sometimes they're quiet, polite, encouraging even, but only to the version of you that doesn't challenge them. The Stoics understood the danger of misaligned influence. Marcus Aurelius warned of absorbing the habits of those around you. Influence isn't always visible, it's silent erosion. And while you're chasing strength, your circle might be feeding your excuses. True allies don't flatter your fears, they confront them. They don't coddle your stagnation, they challenge it with love and clarity. That kind of relationship doesn't come by default. It comes by design. You can't expect to rise if you keep tying your wings to people afraid of height. You can't seek clarity while swimming in confusion. You can't become unshakable while surrounded by those who benefit from your doubt. The painful truth is this: some people love the weaker version of you, not because they hate you, but because it makes them feel stronger. When you grow, it confronts their decision to stay the same, and not everyone's ready for that reflection. So the question isn't, do they love me? It's, do they lift me? Do they respect the direction I'm going, or are they only loyal to the version I've outgrown? Do they hold me accountable when I drift, or do they keep me comfortable when I shrink? Most men never ask. They just keep tolerating presence without purpose. But Stoic strength doesn't tolerate misalignment. It doesn't fear being misunderstood. It accepts that elevation demands evaluation and sometimes elimination. What you allow around you will either fuel your discipline or feed your distractions. And you cannot rise by accident. Growth is intentional. So is the environment. You don't need more people. You need the right people. The kind who speak to your future, not just your past. Who sharpens your clarity when life gets blurry. Who reminds you who you are when you forget. That kind of loyalty, it's rare. But so is peace. So is self-respect. So is freedom. Tonight, don't text everyone back. Don't say yes out of guilt. Don't apologize for needing space. Sit with the quiet. Listen to what your intuition's been trying to tell you for months. And then act. Not harshly. Not cruelly. But clearly. Because the man you're becoming can't afford to carry what the man you used to be would settle for. Let them go. Not in anger, but in honor of what's next. 7. Don't let survival mode define you. You can live for years and not realize you've been stuck in survival. It feels like you're functioning, but you're not fully present. You're checking boxes, showing up, doing what needs to be done, but inside, something is shrinking. Survival mode teaches you to be alert, not alive. To expect the worst, not build for the best. It sharpens your reflexes, but dulls your dreams. At first it's a defense, eventually it becomes a cage. Many men wear their exhaustion like armor. They say they're just tired, just busy, just getting through the week. But beneath that language is a deeper truth they rarely speak aloud. They're afraid to hope again. Because hope requires exposure, risk, vulnerability. And when you've been cut before, your instinct is to close off everything, even possibility, even purpose. But Stoicism doesn't glorify numbness. It honors discipline, and there's a difference. Numbness is a reaction. Discipline is choice. Survival mode is the body's way of coping when it thinks nothing can be trusted. Stoic strength is choosing to rebuild trust with yourself, quietly, deliberately, even while your mind is telling you to stay small. The Stoic doesn't ignore the fire. He studies it, learns to walk through it without letting it consume his center. The mistake most make is assuming that peace will arrive when life finally calms down, but it never does. Life isn't designed to stay calm. It moves, it demands, it shifts. Waiting for stability before you re-engage is like waiting for silence before you speak your truth. It may never come. That's why Stoicism teaches you to return to self-governance, to own your reactions, to own your story. Not the one where you just made it, but the one where you woke up and said, enough. Enough waiting for someone to fix it. Enough bracing for impact. Enough shrinking into roles that don't fit just to keep the peace. Because survival is not the goal, it's a phase. Necessary sometimes, but temporary. Staying there too long poisons everything. Your relationships become transactions. Your mind becomes a battlefield. And your soul? It becomes silent. You weren't born to just endure. You weren't made to just repeat. You were designed to grow. And growth doesn't begin when things are safe. It begins when you decide to stop using your pain as a reference point and start using your values. That shift changes your posture, your decisions, your presence. You become rooted in something deeper than circumstance. You begin to respond instead of react. So start small. Catch yourself the next time you say, I'm just trying to get through this. Pause, breathe, replace it with, I'm building something through this. One word can break the loop. One sentence can reset the trajectory. That's not fantasy. That's neuroplasticity. That's presence. That's Stoic leadership from the inside out. And it begins the moment you stop rehearsing collapse and start rehearsing clarity. Not because life got easier, but because you chose to rise anyway. 8. Your scars are sacred. Show them perfection is not your purpose. And pretending you've never bled won't make you stronger. We live in a world obsessed with polish, curated images, filtered emotions, flawless timelines. But nothing grows in that sterile frame. Nothing heals behind a mask. Scars are not stains on your worth. They are the signature of survival. They are the silent proof that you faced the fire and walked out with something more than applause. You walked out with truth. The common mistake is hiding the damage. Men are told that real strength is silence. Talking about the pain is weakness. That shows the wound makes you fragile. But Stoic thought doesn't ask you to deny the wound. It asks you to understand it, to confront what cut you without shame, to own what tried to destroy you, not because it defines you, but because it refined you. Shame comes from hiding, but power lives in the open. Power comes when you name the pain, not as a victim, but as a witness to what it turned you into. You don't need to hide your past to become your future. The Stoics didn't glorify suffering, but they refused to waste it. Every scar, every failure, every moment that made you question your value, it can become fuel. It can become the story. And when told without apology, it transforms you from a man who merely survives into a man who teaches survival by example. Too many carry their past like a burden, dragging it through the years, thinking it's a secret they must guard. But the burden only breaks you when you carry it alone. When you allow yourself to be seen, not despite your wounds but with them, you unlock something more powerful than validation. You unlock resonance, connection, leadership, because people don't follow perfection, they follow presence. They follow someone who has walked through hell and still walks upright. That's the quiet kind of influence that Stoicism builds. If you're waiting for your scars to disappear before you speak, you may wait your whole life. What broke you was real, but what came out of it can be even more real if you stop polishing the pain and start speaking it with clarity, not with bitterness, not to bleed again, but to show that healing didn't erase the mark, it gave it meaning. You don't need to rehearse your story for the world, you just need to stop hiding from it. When the mind replays the moments that hurt, answer it with, "Yes, that happened, and I'm still here." When shame creeps in and tells you to shrink, respond with, "My scars are not a threat, they are my legacy." That internal shift rewrites everything, from how you walk into a room to how you speak to yourself in the dark. Tonight, whisper this to your own reflection. "I've been broken, but I'm not ashamed." Then say it again, not louder but deeper. That's the beginning of a new way to carry yourself, not as someone who has to heal before living, but as someone who lives with the strength that healing gave. Let the world see the mark. It means you didn't give up, and that is sacred. Strength isn't something you're born with, it's something you build, moment by moment, thought by thought, choice by choice. In this journey, you've seen that true resilience doesn't come from avoiding pain, it's forged within it. You've learned that your scars are not flaws, they are signs of growth. You've seen how rewriting your inner voice can shift your entire reality. And most importantly, you've been reminded that silence, presence, and emotional discipline are not signs of weakness. They are the foundation of Stoic power. Stoic philosophy doesn't ask you to become perfect, it asks you to become honest, to strip away what no longer serves you, to challenge the habits that keep you small, and to rise, not just once, but every single day, especially on the days that feel heavy, especially when your mind tells you to give up, because that's where the real work begins. That's where you stop reacting and start leading from within. So here's your invitation. Begin with one practice. Choose a sentence that grounds you and repeat it every morning. Speak to yourself with clarity, with strength, with calm. Train your mind like you train your body, with daily intention. Surround yourself with those who protect your focus. Stand firm in the storm and grow inside it. And when the moment comes where life presses hardest, don't run, don't retreat, anchor yourself, breathe. And remember, you are not the pain, you are the one rising through it. Now, I want to hear from you. What part of this message spoke to you the most? What storm are you walking through, and how are you choosing to stay strong within it? Share your story in the comments below. You never know who needs your strength to find their own.